All right, welcome into the Jets Afterburners podcast. I am your host, Liam. I am being joined by the backup co-host. He's finally back. He is no longer holding out. I had to go all the way up to the Roscoe Diner to re-sign him, but I got him back in the building, baby. Armand, our backup co-host. Armand, how are you doing? Before we get into all that, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest, Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green, or as some people know him, I was shouting it at the game, Elroy. I don't think you heard me, but it was out there. How
I
you guys
love that.
doing?
Well, it's awesome to be on. So thank you, Liam and Armand. It's awesome to be here, man. And I don't get that a lot. So that's super inside baseball. When people give me that one, I'm like looking around like, who in God's green earth just said that? Like in a good way. And I'm trying to look and give major props. So only people inside know that one. So that's good. Credit to you, Liam. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I was telling you off air. Every morning, 7:30, I'm ready to go. So got my
Booyah!
coffee going.
Yes,
Uh,
the energy. You know what I'm
yes,
talking about?
sir.
You guys are on the opposite end. I'm in the morning. You guys are at night. This is Boy Green After Dark, baby. Let's get spicy. Yeah.
Did you take your power naps? You ready to go all night, or you
It's
pushing
a
through
good
all day?
question. When we're younger, we're like, naps are for losers. But the older I get and the more silver whiskers that are jumping up in this beard here, I'm like, boy, a nap would be great. I have no time for naps, but in theory, the nap sounds great. But no, I'm still fired up, baby. I can't turn off. It just, I turned on however long ago and the switch is broken. I've never been able to turn off since.
I hear you. Armand, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back. Liam, thank you for the chicken and waffles. At the diner, but that didn't get me back here. What got me here was Hassan Reddick and his stupid camp, and the Jets and their stupid idiotic thing playing a pissing contest. And I just said, you know what, Liam and Dan deserve better from me.
That's right.
I'm here. I'm
That
back.
that's all that matters. It's like at the point now where Hassan Reddick has become just such a big talking point that he has his own slide now. The only picture of him like in somewhat Jet attire is this picture. So I feel like it'd be like weird to delete it now. It's like I gotta pull it up every week and like whatever the end result is with him, whether he gets traded or whether he shows up or they cut him, whatever the situation is, I'm gonna feel like really kind of upset, like deleting him. It's like this picture has been like almost like every episode since like the rebrand. So it's gonna be
That's
one of
it.
those things. But we have tons of Jet news to get into, so I figured we'll get the big story out of the way first. The one that everybody wants to talk about. This guy, Devonte Adams,
Mm.
the trade that is going to be happening. I don't think it's a matter of if, I think it's a matter of when these two will be reunited. It's the two best friends that anybody can have, Aaron Rodgers and Devonte Adams. Um, Talking about this news, I got to bring the big hitters on. So, Boy Green, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm all about it. I've been all about it for a long time. It makes all the sense in the world. I heard people complaining, we don't need him. We've got this guy and this guy and this guy. And shout out to Greg. You know, there's been so many people that have said we don't need Devonte Adams. And I think if you've just watched this Jets offense through the first month of the season, I think we absolutely need Devonte Adams. We spoke up the high game of Garrett Wilson, and I was there. I took him in the first round of my fantasy draft, unquestioned. I felt so great about the pick. I slammed it down. We were live at a bar. I say the pick. I beat my chest and I said, yeah, this is going to be a key piece of this championship team I'm about to have. Suckers, you guys made this biggest mistake of your life, letting them fall to me, losers. And I look like the idiot right now. So, Garrett Wilson has not been able to prove that he could be this superstar number one wide receiver. So I think Devontae coming isn't like just stepping on Garrett Wilson's toes. I think it could be a help because he has chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. He can open things up for Garrett Wilson. He can open up things for other guys in the offense. Can you imagine the starting three receivers of Devontae Adams on the outside, Mike Williams on the other side, and you got Garrett Wilson in the slot, Brees Hall, Tyler Conklin? You start really evaluating this squad, and boy, it just takes the offense to another level. Greeny joined me right before the season. And he said, if the Jets get Devontae, and he said it's going to be when, not really an if situation. He said, when the Jets get Devontae Adams, they're going to be the best offense in the AFC. And I totally agreed to his prediction a month ago to what it could be now. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, it's a win now move. It's an all-in move, and absolutely the Jets need to get it done. This would be the biggest laughing stock in history if he ends up on the Saints or some other garbage ass team. Like, it's got to be Jets or bust. He wants to be there. The Jets want him. Now just figure out the T's and I's for the Raiders to be satisfied.
Armand, what are your thoughts?
I agree with everything Bob Green said. I mean, they've tried to get him since last year, obviously. They tried to get him this offseason. They probably tried to get him during the draft.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, outside, look at the start of the season. Outside of Alan Lazard, and even last week with Mike Williams, the receiving core hasn't been great. That, Garrett's fumbled in 2 games this year already? Last week? And I think 2 fumbles already. And Rodgers, if you drop a pass,
I don't know about the other one.
Yeah, I remember the one that happened that must have been the Broncos game. The other one I don't. Breece Hall fumbled in the 49ers game. Maybe I'm not remembering the other one. But still, to your point, it's been underwhelming, obviously.
And we know how Aaron Rodgers gets, either with rookie wide receivers or wide receivers. If they drop a pass, do a fumble, he tends to stay away from them. It looked like he did that last week against Denver, stayed away from Garrett after the fumble.
Yeah, it's like one of those like uncharacteristic things. And I guess we could kind of touch on the Broncos game as little as I want to do it, actually, but I got invited onto somebody else's podcast Monday night, and like we were like doing like a little like film breakdown, and I'm like, what the hell did I do to deserve this? Like, this is the game that you want me to break down? It's like I saw it slamming beers. I saw it live, and like I knew it was garbage back then too, but it was like one of those like weird, like uncharacteristic things that you don't really ever see from Garrett too often. And then like, I don't know about you, Paul, I don't know about you, Armand, but like when you see something like that, you kind of just know, like, all right, we're in for like one of these crappy games, like, like the uncharacteristic things are happening. It's going to be like one of these like shit show kind of moments. At least like in my opinion, that's like the way I feel about it. Breece has been off to a really slow start. But do you guys get that same feeling that like after like his fumble that like things are just going to start going wrong?
To be honest, for me, it was the weather. I don't know. I may just be an idiot, and that is certainly possible in a lot of respects. But like, I hadn't heard about the weather the entire time, and then I had a fan on because we do the Boy Green Daily every morning, and I heard someone say, "Hey, man, weather could be a factor." I'm like, "Oh, let me check ESPN. They have like little AccuWeather thing." And I clicked it. I said, "Whoa, that's more rain than I thought." It was going to be there for like 12 o'clock. I was going to be there for 1 o'clock. Oh, okay. It's going to be there a little in the middle of the game. I didn't know it was supposed to be consistent the entire time. And I didn't even know it was supposed to be a factor at all. And good Lord, there's like a torrential downpour, which was like stunning. So I think the weather made me go, damn. And I think I said it on the morning show. This is great news for the Broncos because they have Bo Nix. The Jets have Aaron Rodgers. If we played on a dome and it's a track meet, like it's way better for the Jets if the weather's perfect. It's like our team's better. They're more talented. We can run up and down the field. Our full playbook is available. When you're in a rain, nasty weather game, all of a sudden you're simplifying the playbook. You're doing simpler stuff. And that's where I'm like, oh, this plays to the Broncos' benefit. So to me, that was the red flag of a potential concern of, wow, I thought the Jets were going to blow the barn doors off the Broncos. Now I'm like, you're in one of these games, it's a lot closer. And obviously, as we've found out this season, anytime when, get things a lot closer, there's a chance anything can happen. And teams have been upsetting teams left and right.
Yeah, Paul, we're going to get back to that in a quick second here. We just made history on the channel. I have actually just received my first ever super chat.
Booyah.
Ever. So
wow.
Thank you, Mr. Flowers. So,
I
definitely I've seen this happen before. I've seen it, on multiple different shows. Jake Asman, super chats cut the line. So guess what? He's going to have to cut the line. I guess I'm just following protocol here. Watching this Thursday night football game, I pray the Jets offense can look half as good as either of these teams. Also, Corley needs to be the returner. We need a downhill one-cut player. So I guess we could get into this for a second here.
Sure.
Where the hell has Malachi Corley been? And actually, just thank you once again, Mr. Flowers, making history on the show tonight. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say so to the back end of what he said. So let me go reverse, reread the comment here. Sorry, let me scroll back up to get that. Um, yeah, so he said Corley needs to be the returner, 100%. Xavier Gibson, I like. He's a fine guy, but like I'd love to see Corley. To be honest, I thought that style would be a little bit better with this new kickoff return rule. A guy that could break some tackles. The track stars have been fun, but that would have been my preference from a return standpoint. Obviously, Xavier Gibson hasn't done anything spectacular yet, Mr. Flowers. So 100%, I'd prefer to see Malachi Corley back there. Why not, to be honest? What do you have to lose to give him an opportunity? Because if he can't get on the receiving field right now, or the offensive, if he can't get on the offense, he certainly ain't going to get on when Devontae Adams gets here. That's less reps to go around. So Malachi Corley's path to me is special teams, and then from there, hopefully it can work. Like I don't feel really encouraged. Nathaniel Hackett spoke to the media earlier today, and they're like, Malachi Corley, where is he? And he's like, eventually he's going to get his chance. Maybe it'll be soon. Maybe it'll be later.
He's here. He's in the building.
Right.
Like it feels like they're trying to develop him in an all-in year when the way to develop him is putting him on the field, giving him reps, not just in film study, at practice. Like there's only so much he's going to grow in practice against our defense, against the Nichols or, a Stiggers, playing the fourth or fifth corner. When let's see what he does against the fourth or fifth corner. If you would have put him in the slot, against the fourth or fifth corner in a dime package against another team, against Minnesota. But I agree with you. He should start as a returner.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten genuine touches, to be honest. So, like, he's gotten a quick bubble screen, and it goes for nothing. And then the Jets go, well, I guess you suck, back to the bench. And you're like, what? Like, what were you expecting? A 90-yard touchdown? If you didn't get it, you're like, what a loser. Get back on the bench. Like, you got to give him some volume. It's almost like you're a basketball team and you're going to your guy off the bench and he doesn't give you an immediate three-pointer, like, throw his ass back on the bench. He's coming in cold turkey. Like, you got to find a way to kind of work it in there. So, and to the first part of what Mr. Flowers said, again, thanks for the super chat, is watch this Thursday night football game. I pray the Jets offense can look half as good as either of these teams as they're seemingly moving down the field and putting points on the board. Again, we saw it in that New England game, and I get it's New England, but the flashes are all there. What I have to just hope, Liam, is that this the Broncos game was just this rain game that sucked, and the Broncos defense is better than we gave it credit for, and we're just going to see this Jets offense kind of come to fruition. The Vikings are last in the league in passing yards allowed. Like, they've given up more passing yards than any other team in the NFL. There is plenty of chunk plays available if, of course, the Jets can handle the blitz and the pressure rate for the Vikings. If they're able to do that, I think there are chunk plays to be had for this passing game on Sunday.
Yeah, just to touch on Corley here for one more second. I feel like the best time, if you don't want to throw him in as a punt returner or a kick returner right now, I feel like the best time to use him would be like in kind of garbage time. Like that New England game, fourth quarter would have been perfect. Just throw him in there when you have a nice, comfortable lead. I'm even for like what they did week one. Like if we're getting blown out or doing the blowing out, which we don't do too often. If it's not close by either side, take Rodgers out, take Garrett Wilson out, throw Tyrod Taylor in, like just let some of these younger guys get the experience. I feel like, because like we all said, there's nothing like live game action. Like practice is practice. That's one thing. It could be corrected right there on the spot. When you make a mistake in the game, you got to be able to fix it yourself. It's either that or you're coming off for a couple plays and people say, well, where is he? So it definitely goes more noticed. So I don't know. I feel like we got to start at least getting him involved.
Yeah, go ahead. For Boy Green's comment, like the screen pass, dropping the pass, and like he doesn't get anything. You'll bench them for dropping a pass or missing a tackle, but you won't bench them for getting 3 flags in a game.
Right.
Come on, like the penalties last week against Denver were just atrocious. And somebody, I get on the offensive line part, Moses is out. So you got Fashanu playing right tackle. Tyron Smith, you probably don't have did you really want to take Tyron out after 2 penalties? But still, you got to do something. You got to penalty when a player does bad things because of lack of focus.
Very
penalty wise. You gotta embarrass them. I'm sorry. Solo's wrong. I don't want to embarrass them because they're men. Sometimes they need to be embarrassed.
Well, the thing I don't understand is, as a former football player, you're supposed to practice how you play. And throughout training camp, if someone made a mistake, Saleh yanked him off the field immediately. Like there was a punishment for it. And then
Yeah.
they were asked, "Oh, so for the season, would you do that?" He's like, "Oh, no, 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 we don't do that during the season." Then why did you do it in the training camp? That doesn't make sense. But like maybe like that's probably again like a Tyron Smith, that's probably incredibly insulting. So for like a player like that, who's a future Hall of Famer, maybe that one's harder to dictate. But like some of these other guys that have been like, unfortunately, it is what it is. Brees Hall, it's unacceptable to have the amount of penalties he had as a running back because he's trying to jump ahead on pass protection. There has to be some level of accountability there. Like an offensive lineman, okay, some of those are going to happen. But a running back, some of those kind of false starts and things are unacceptable.
Yeah, it's just like 2 false starts for my running back. Like, like what? Like how that doesn't happen. That doesn't
Definitely
happen.
not normally.
And then like Will McDonald like lining up like offsides. It's like the kind of
Twice.
penalties that
What an idiot.
yeah, twice. The kind of penalties that the Jets are generating is like peewee football practice. Like
Yeah.
those are the kind of penalties that like I made like when I was 8 years old. Like I didn't really know where I was like lining up. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna stand closer to these guys. I'll get an edge on them. Oh, hey, buddy, you're offsides. You better back it up. Matter of fact, your whole offense better back it up. Like it's something like that. Like you're a professional NFL athlete. Like how does this happen? I don't
The only
understand
good
like some of these
news,
penalties.
the only good news I would say is because it is so elementary, hopefully that means you can fix it quickly because it's just stupid stuff. Like, Will, look at the ball. Oh, sorry, coach. And then it's fixed. Like, if it was a deeper problem, maybe you're more concerned because you're like, man, are we going to be able to fix this from a week to week basis? When they're so simple, you do think that it should be, in theory, again, I say in theory, it should be easier corrections on a week to week basis in practice when they are so simple.
Now, I understand that we rip Salah for a lot, saying that like, there's like no accountability and like
Sure.
just like all that kind of stuff. But like when he sees Will McDonald lining up on the opposite side of the ball, do you ever think he's just like, what the hell? Like, why do I have to deal with this? Like, right? Well, why do I have to correct this? Like, why is this even happening? I don't know what's going through his head, or is he just like, oh, okay? I still don't know 4 years in, I don't know what he does as a head coach.
Well,
I just want to throw
speaking
that
of the
out there.
McDonald penalties, if there was a certain pass rusher that's sitting at home when you're playing, you could have benched McDonald with those 2 penalties.
Well, I will just say this, that, Will McDonald has been our best pass rusher. So, like, he leads the team with 5 sacks. He's the only player against the Broncos who had he had more than 1 pressure, but he was the only one that he had 4 pressures, but was the only defensive lineman that had any pressure. So, like, it's Will McDonald or bust right now, and opposing teams are going to double team Will McDonald. They're going to double team Quinnen Williams. They're going to force someone else to beat them. And right now, the Jets haven't had it. So that's for sure. Liam, looks like you got your second super chat in history here. Look at that,
Look
baby.
at this. Jets offense is stand still, no motion, no shifts. Oh, stand still, no motion, no shifts. Guys on outside must win one-on-ones. Yeah,
It's true.
yeah. I mean,
It's
like,
true.
Yeah, it is.
And
You know
that's
what
on
it
the
is like.
OC. That's on Hackett.
Yeah, that's
No,
the
I
scary
think it's on the
Creativity.
players. Isn't it on the players, though? Like Garrett Wilson, you're one-on-one. If you're as great of a receiver as you should be, then win the battle. Mike Williams has won a lot of these one-on-ones this season, which has been great. Allen Lazard's our leading receiver right now. He has more yards after catch than Garrett Wilson does this season. Sure, you should have some level of motion and chips and things that will help others. But as it's currently constructed, these guys got to win. It's on these guys to step up to the plate. Again, we've talked so highly of Garrett Wilson, and I love Garrett Wilson. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. But if we're saying he's going to be a top 10 receiver, if we're saying he's going to be a top 5 receiver, then show it, young man. Who cares if you're facing difficult coverage? Devontae Adams has faced difficult coverage in his career. Justin Jefferson gets double team every game. He still puts up numbers. Why is Garrett different? Then Garrett, it's time to deliver, man.
I bet if Saul was my boss at IHOP and I dropped 7 pancakes an hour, I'd get a raise weekly. It's okay, Dan is a grown ass man.
That's funny.
He doesn't need to be motivated. He'll drop less next week. Now, Paul, I have a quick question, and
Sure.
like I feel like I don't want to ask this just because.
Oh boy.
Is there any fear that maybe Garrett isn't the number 1 that we thought he was going to be?
It's a fair question because Garrett obviously looked really good through his first 2 years. really good, relatively speaking, I guess. The question I continue to have is like, okay, so he did good considering the crappy quarterbacks he played with. Again, 7 different quarterbacks. But the thing that I said throughout the offseason is the next step for Garrett, like all he needs is a quarterback. And all of a sudden he gets 1,300, 1,400, 1,500 plus yards. Does he get double-digit touchdowns? Garrett Wilson's been a player so far in his career who has been allergic to the end zone, relatively speaking. There is a fear, sure, that Garrett Wilson has to, what he needs to prove is that I'm sick of the excuses. Like we've gone through the first couple of weeks here, and people tell me, well, Paul, he's faced a tough corner. So we just pack our lunch pail and go home. Sorry, it's a tough matchup this week. Our receiver, our number one guy, the focal point of the offense, as Nathaniel Hackett said earlier today, of what they want to do is just MIA for the gameplay. He's just gone now. So for like a month, he's had 60 yards receiving or less. He's had 30 receiving yard games, 20, 50, 60. Like, no, if he's going to be this guy, it's time for him to take a step up and make some things happen. So it's a fair question, Liam. It's an uncomfortable question, but he has to step up to the plate and make noise, and he's got to prove it. Now, maybe again, the arrival of Davante Adams opens things up, but let's see what he does. Because Davante, what's today? Thursday night, so it's about to be Friday. Like, Davante ain't going to be here for this London game. So can Garrett have a game where he's going to have some opportunities, like I said, against his holy Vikings defense? That will be kind of interesting to me, but it's a fair question to ask because he has not delivered so far.
Yeah, and that's what and like either way, if Garrett Wilson for whatever reason is your number 2, and I imagine once Davante Adams comes here, he will be demoted to the number 2. We're still in a really good spot, because Garrett Wilson at your number 2 is, I think, pretty darn good. Armand, what are your thoughts here?
If Garrett wants to be with the Jamar Chases of the world, the Justin Jeffersons of the world, the elite of the elite receivers, they face tough corners week in and week out, and they beat them. You got to do the same thing. Mike Evans, an elite receiver, facing A.J. Terrell tonight. I'm trying to look up his stats for the game.
While Armand does that, we got some Boy Green lyrics in here.
Oh.
Here we go. I don't know if you want to sing it or,
Liam, I thought you were going to sing it. I thought you were going to drop down the pipes.
I wanted to give you the honors, but if you want me to, I could. But
yeah, sure, Liam. Lay it on us. Yeah. Right, here we go, superstar. Let's go.
How does it go? Boy Green, Boy Green, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Close enough, right?
Yeah, that's the gist. That's the vibe we're going for. Shout out to my caller Hep, who is a loyal listener to the morning show. He has a guitar, and he called in one day, and I was kind of caught off guard because you guys know, as you had me on the show waiting in the green room, and any callers you guys end up taking that were like on the bottom of the screen waiting to be called upon, like class. And you could kind of see down. I saw a guitar, and I was kind of like thrown off because I'd never seen Hep have a guitar or any musical instrument in my life. So I was like, oh, this is going to be a journey. Click, and then all of a sudden it went crazy. So yeah, it was awesome.
And now it's a thing, and like this is a situation where we're helping you out now too, because you are almost at here we go, 7,000 subscribers. You are on your way. If you guys have not subscribed, and we're definitely going to plug the hell out of you, towards the end here.
That, man. Thank you.
If you have not subscribed, now is a really good time to do so. Or you could just tune in tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Plug in it right there too.
Yeah, there you go.
I know I will be there. So many.
Mike Evans, 4 catches, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns tonight against Atlanta.
Jeez, wow, terrific.
17-17, second quarter, 6:17 left.
Yeah, I love the scoring. That's awesome. That is terrific.
Just want to point it out to Garrett Wilson, going against a Vikings secondary that is probably more popular for their safeties like Harrison Smith than their corners.
Wow. I hope we get this high-scoring game. This is awesome. What a great start to Week 5.
Hopefully it could translate to Sunday morning. So as we transition into that a little bit, the New York Jets are going back to London. Robert Saleh says that he's learned plenty from going there a couple of times, such as things like his sleep schedule. Great education there, great learning experience on how to sleep in London. Paul, what are your thoughts on this matchup coming up? The undefeated Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings taking on the 2-2, partially struggling at times New York Jets.
Yeah, it brings me back. I go to 2008. It's not as dramatic as the example I'm going to bring up, but this is the thought that came through my head. The Vikings are being crowned. If you look around NFL power rankings around the country, they've been called the number one team in the NFL, and for good reason. They're 4-0. They've beaten awesome teams, the 49ers, the Texans. They went to Lambeau and beat the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love in his return. I have this stat here. The Minnesota Vikings have only trailed this entire season through the first month for 3 minutes and 26 seconds. The next closest team has trailed 26 minutes. So again, like the Vikings have been kicking ass. They're undefeated. They're beating awesome teams and they're dominating. I mean, they have blown the barn doors off of all of those awesome teams. So long story short, the Vikings are playing awesome. But unless you guys think they're going 17-0, they're vulnerable just like anyone else. I said one example earlier where they're 32 in pass defense. So in terms of yards allowed, they have given up more passing yards than any other team in the league. And some of that they've benefited from. They're number one in the league in sacks. They're number two in blitz rate. They're number one in pressure. So like when teams are passing that much, you have to give up something on the back end. But long story short, again, my 2008 example, the Jets went down to Tennessee and beat the 10-0 Titans. And Brett Favre after the game says, I don't know if we, the Jets, are the best team in football, but we just beat the best team in football. The Jets have a chance to beat the best team in football. Now, I think a lot of us before the season would have said, you know, we would have penciled in the Broncos game as a win, and it's a loss. So you're like, oh, that's surprising. Well, a lot of people are penciling in the Jets as a loser in London. So if you win that game, you flip the gods. Okay, we lost one we shouldn't have. We won one maybe we shouldn't have. And now you're back to even playing field. You're only a game out of first place in the AFC. So everything's in front of the Jets. I respect the Vikings. I think they're terrific. But I don't think they're impenetrable, unbeatable, and all these other things of that nature. To be frank, I think there's great opportunities for the New York Jets to win this game.
Yeah, I got another super chat here from Tim. Thank you so much, Tim. You know, you're really
Yeah.
opening up the wallets for me today. This
Yeah, wow.
defense needs to blitz and lean on the corners. Yeah, I want to see more blitzing against the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like that's something that we did awesome against the New England Patriots, and then last week, for whatever reason, it seems like we just kind of went away from it again. I really think that that is kind of a secret ingredient here that we might have to bust out Sunday morning again, and it almost feels like maybe last Sunday was our trap game. Maybe the New York Jets have finally gotten to a position where we fell victim to a trap game. Whatever, it is what it is. You know, it sucks, but it's done and over with. We have a chance to finally. We're really like a Sunday morning game, a foreign game is a primetime game. You know, it's the only game on TV right now, Sunday morning, so whether you're watching at church or, whether you're skipping church or whatever the situation is, whatever you're doing on your Sunday mornings, hopefully you have your Boy Green Coffee Club in hand as you're drinking your coffee. Yeah.
There you go.
So,
I love all the plugs. That's terrific.
Yeah. So, but odds are you will be watching that Jet game, whether you're a Jet fan or not. It's something that we have to get back to. And now I feel like I guess Armand, I'll ask you this real quick. Do you feel like the New York Jets can actually set up the Minnesota Vikings for a trap game? A team that's undefeated, like Paul just said, blowing out all these big teams, and they only trailed for 3 minutes this whole season. Do you feel like maybe just traveling on the road, maybe they got some of that jet lag? Do you feel like maybe the Jets can have a trap game against the Minnesota Vikings?
Absolutely, because everybody's pumping up Minnesota like, they have they're playing well. They're playing like a whole squad. Like they're not being carried by one player. I mean, let's give credit to Sam for playing well with the amount of weapons he has around him, from Aaron Jones to Jordan Addison. On the offensive side of the ball, Justin Jefferson. They don't have Hawkinson back yet. The tight end.
Yep.
Sam stepped up for them when they lost JJ McCarthy. I don't know what the Vikings would be offensively if McCarthy was the starting quarterback, didn't get hurt, because I would assume he would have been the starter and Sam would have been the backup.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the Jets are prime because while they're not in Minnesota and they're not here, they are in foreign land. They are away from interstate New Jersey, New York noise. They are away from everything. They're probably reading it on social media, but they are far away from it in another country where they can get business and take care of business and make it a trap game for Minnesota.
Hey,
Whether
by the
that's
way, I
using
think we got
Greece,
another super chat here from Tim too. I'm like losing track of these. The quarterback savant offense. I don't know if we got to that one yet either.
Oh no, I missed one. Thank you,
Okay,
Paul.
yeah, I know they're all coming in like crazy.
Yeah, thank you, Tim.
Let's see.
Yeah, they run the quarterback savant offense. Rodgers is going to diagnose D. Fine matchup, but the damn pass rush catchers need to be spot he expects in the spot.
Yeah, because that was the problem last week. Again, we saw too many times where Aaron's like, boom, he throws it to a spot. It's a timing offense. It's like, okay, at this moment, I'm expecting my player to be here. And when he throws it, Garrett Wilson's like looking upfield. He's like, whoa, bro. He throws it to Xavier Gibson. Gibson's like running upfield. Whoa, hey, man, it's this. So that's another part of the Devontae Adams conversation that obviously would only help is a guy would that innate chemistry that you have built for a long time. So 100%, we got to give love to Aaron Rodgers. And Matt Ryan said it after the game. Shout out to Matt Ryan on NFL on CBS. He said that it's not that Aaron Rodgers has to bend himself to his receivers. His receivers have to bend themselves to Aaron friggin' Rodgers. Be in the right gosh darn place. You guys have been practicing this for months. So, yeah, that's a part of the offense. Receivers have to step up to the plate because Aaron Rodgers is doing as much as he can.
Yeah, I throw I threw up the link here. If anybody wants to call in, feel free to do so.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's just like I guess before we get you out of here, I'll pull up
Sure.
Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. The injury report, where Aaron Rodgers is
Okay.
actually now on the injury report, but
Yep.
we got Tyron Smith, which we know he's an old man. He needs his rest day, and then we have Morgan Moses, who's dealing with the knee.
Yep.
Nothing really too noteworthy there. CJ Mosley still dealing with the toe. I mean, I know turf toe can be like a thing, but
Yeah.
what is this? 3 games now? Like I know it does.
This would be
linger,
the
but
third, I believe.
yeah, and he's not expected to play on Sunday. Now, I do like Jamie Sherwood stepping up for him. I think that Jamie
Sure.
Sherwood actually looks a little more explosive, but CJ Mosley, he's the captain of the defense right there. It's like nothing like having your anchor right there in the secondary, which Sherwood, that is something that he does not provide, unfortunately. Maybe one day. He's just not there yet. And now somebody who is actually appearing on the injury report for the first time is AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker, dealing with an ankle injury. That's some news there. Lecky Fulto, he's going to be coming back. He was a full participant. And then Aaron Rodgers dealing with a knee injury, which bugs the hell out of me because it could have been prevented. But Aaron Rodgers is an old man too. Maybe he needs to start taking a couple days off himself. So I guess we could get into the AVT situation real quick. Paul,
Sure.
do you see this being something that maybe holds him out of the game or just becomes a problem for the New York Jets on the offensive line?
Of course, yeah. When you get, it's always concerning when you get unexpected injuries. Like, so Aaron Rodgers, he was banged up and he got treatment and all those kinds of things. It made sense that like he was eventually going to show up on the injury report because again, for betting and all that kind of stuff, if he gets any kind of treatment, you have to be fair and square and show that on there. So like Aaron Rodgers being on there, while we don't want to see Aaron Rodgers on there because that is not good news, but like we knew that he was going to be on there. So that one makes sense to me. AVT showing up with an ankle and is a limited participant. That's a little scary because those, midweek injuries are normally not a good sign that just kind of pop up. Again, it's not always a death nail, but that's something certainly to worry about. Liam, can you actually throw the injury report back up on the screen for us for a second?
Sure.
Yeah, I just kind of want to walk through a couple of things here that are of interest here. So Morgan Moses, the only thing I want to say about that, the fact that he's a limited participant is actually a great sign. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He's a limited participant on Thursday. Obviously, he's already been ruled out for the London game. He's not going to make the trip, and that's dandy. But that likely means that he could be back for the Week 6 Monday Night Football game against the Bills. And he was a guy that a lot of us said, who gives a flying hoot if he's there? We got Olu Fashanu, and Fashanu had his fair share of struggles against Denver. So Morgan coming back sooner rather than later would be massive news. I think that's a good sign. I don't mind CJ Mosley. I wanted to be right. If we go back to his first season with the Jets, he gets hurt in that Buffalo game. He's out for a while. They try to bring him back early against the New England Patriots like week 7. He re-aggravates the injury and hurts himself in a different way. He's out for the rest of the season. So let's take care of him. We should have the long-term view. And I don't mind Jamin Sherwood and Chaz Surratt getting some work in there. They've actually looked pretty good. And then Likey Fotu, to your point, full participant. came off of IR. He had to miss the first 4 weeks of the season. Saleh, said before the year that he probably could have been back for the New England game, but they wanted to be cautious with him. He'll be a nice big body to add to the defensive line as well. And obviously Rodgers, it's great to see that limited participant on Wednesday go to a full participant on Thursday. So yeah, but to go back to your overall question, no, thank you for bringing that up on the screen there, Liam. I would just say, yeah, AVT is something certainly to worry about. Let's keep an eye on it. Let's see how it progresses. Obviously Friday, that Friday injury report that comes in will be huge. Is he a limited participant again? Does he perhaps not practice? That's where all of a sudden we could get pretty concerned.
I'm looking here at the Vikings real quick. I did not know that
Oh, yeah.
Sam Darnold was dealing with a knee injury.
Yes, he got hurt in the what game was that?
Last Sunday.
What
That's news
it
to
wasn't
me.
Packers. It was the one before that. So, gosh, it must have been Texans. He hurt himself, went down in a heap, like end of the third quarter, somewhere in that range. Had to be helped off the field. Got some medical attention, and then he ran back out there. So only missed like a play or two before getting back out there. So as he gets treatment, and they said it was just nothing serious. I don't even know if they called it a sprain, but just some light stuff there. So he got hurt, not the Packers game, but the game before. But obviously he looked pretty good against Green Bay, throwing a handful of tutties. Spreading that around. So, yeah, Sam is one that got hurt a couple weeks ago. Same sort of thing. Nicks and bruises, it looks like, just like Rodgers.
So before we get you out of here, I just got 2 questions for you. The first one, what are your thoughts heading into Sunday? You think we got a chance at a win here? What are you thinking? Score prediction,
absolutely.
Maybe
I'm
if you're going to do it. If you don't want to, up to you.
If I don't want to, you ask me questions, I give you answers, baby.
That's
right.
That's
how this puppy works.
I have
some
the Jets
people
like to keep it for their clothes,
Screw that, baby. Hopefully, people just have short-term memory loss. So when I reveal it for the first time, whenever the hell I reveal it on Sunday, probably right before the game, that they forget. But even if they don't, I don't care. I'll lay it on the line. I have the Jets beating the Minnesota Vikings in neutral territory. The Vikings are the ones that have all the hubbub. They're the 4-0 team. They're the ones coming up here with stuff in their britches, and they're puffing out their chest to kind of waddling in here. The Jets are the one that they're the underdog. No one thinks they're going to win. The Vikings are the quote-unquote best team in the NFL. And again, they've earned it. They've been really good. So all the pressure to me is on the Vikings, and the Jets are getting overlooked this week throughout. There's been a Jets versus the media kind of thing. Aaron Rodgers is pissed off. Saleh's pissed off. Alan Lazard's pissed off. Garrett Wilson's pissed off with how things have been portrayed. And I don't know if that guarantees something great is going to happen on the other side, but it certainly can only help. Pissed off Aaron Rodgers has led to some pretty spectacular performances in the past. So I 100% have the New York Jets winning. It's going to be a competitive, super interesting game because the Vikings have a wildly talented roster, and Sam Darnold has the most passing touchdowns, in the NFL so far. We'll see if that changes. Baker Mayfield was 3 touchdowns behind him before tonight's festivity. So I guess got to keep an eye out for that one for him to potentially tie him up or even overtake him in this crazy NFC South matchup tonight. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be an awesome way to kick off the Sunday slate of games. But I do have the New York Jets winning that ball game, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a big day.
Oh, I love it, man. I really do love it. We finally have a chance to get, just right everything, right all the wrongs, because like you said, the team's pissed off, the media's pissed off. Go ahead, Armand.
So, I mean, look at how after Sunday, how the media was, how the fan base was towards the team for the lack of discipline, the lack of focus, the ugliness of that game. The Devontae situation, yesterday it started, or the day before with Kay Adams.
That was a couple days ago. Yeah.
That kind of turned the fan base around to, and that probably helped the Jets out, the players and the coaches, because now it's like everybody's like, oh, is Devontae coming here? Is Devontae coming here? Like it kind of like got everybody to stop looking at the Denver game.
Yeah, it came at a perfect time for them.
Yeah, that's true.
So I agree with everything Paul said. Like, we are the underdog now. It was a circus. They made it a circus last Sunday. Now they get to right the ship. Right the ship. I don't care how you get it done. If you blitz more, I said this. The reason why they blitzed against New England was that offensive line for New England was depleted, was compromised. They took their right guard, put him at left guard. They had their left tackle wasn't playing. They had a new person at right guard. You can't always wait for teams to be depleted on the offensive line or on the offensive side of the ball to, so you got to blitz against when teams are healthy, when they have their starting offensive line out there.
I'm a little nervous, to be honest. So blitzing against New England, I was all for it. Jacoby Brissett sucks. They're just going to try to run the ball 1,000 times. Denver sucks. I would have blitzed them even more than the Jets actually did. Bo Nix was compromised as a passer. I'm a little fearful of Sam Darnold because he's been awesome against the blitz. Shout out to Michael Nania of Jets X Factor. When Sam Darnold's been blitzed this season, that's 5+ pass rushers. He's completed 18 of 20 passes for 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He leads the NFL in completion percentage, passer rating, yards per attempt, success rate, and EPA per dropback when blitzed. That is number 1 in all of those categories. So Sam Darnold facing the blitz kind of scares me a little bit. But again, you might have to and have no choice. If Will McDonald's getting double teamed, who else is creating a one-on-one pass rush? You may be forced to blitz if you don't like it, but it does scare me a little bit heading in.
Paul, would you agree with me with this? With Fotu coming back, they should absolutely, because I didn't get this last week. Leonard Taylor being inactive when he was active the week before. I need to see Fotu and him, Leonard Taylor, active this week. They will be big help against the run, because what you could do is those two, you could put those two in the line and have Quinnen on the outside, because they're starting to use Quinnen on the edge.
Yep.
You have to have somebody, like maybe you have a line of Quinnen on one edge, maybe even put Kinlaw on the other edge instead of Will McDonald with Fotu and Leonard Taylor. I get Leonard's a rookie, but give it a try with Fotu and Leonard Taylor. It's probably the 2 run stoppers on this defensive line.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because the explanation from Jets experts, quote unquote, is the reason that Leonard Taylor III was inactive against the Broncos is because they said that they wanted more run stuffing, and they felt Leonard Taylor was a pass rusher instead of a run stuffer. That was the explanation from experts when the inactive list came out. I said, oh, interesting. So that's what they explained it as. They actually explained it as the opposite, believe it or not, last week.
Now, last question I have for you.
Yes, sir.
We all seen the Ian Rappaport tweet. I don't have the Connor Hughes one pulled up, but Connor Hughes pretty much said, yeah, he wants to be a Jet. When do you see this happening? If you see it happening?
I 100%.
Yeah, Armand.
Is that Met stuff, Armand? What is going on?
Yeah, Pete Alonso in the top of the 9th just hit a 3-run home run. They were down 2-0.
No way.
Up 3-2.
Nice.
I swear. He just Big Meat Pete coming clutch, and there's no outs.
Big Meat Pete.
Wow.
All right.
Just to
My
throw
radio
this out,
partner.
Paul.
Yeah, my radio partner's a big Mets fan, so he appreciates that. Yeah, Pete Alonso had been sucking, and I was seeing a lot of tweets about Pete Alonso on there, so that's awesome.
Just to give you the stat, I told Liam this earlier before we started the show.
Yeah.
September 19th was the last time Pete Alonso got an extra base hit.
Oh.
And it was a home against Taiwan Walker at Citi Field on a Fox Saturday night game. So now this is his first extra base hit, a 3-run home run opposite field. Now puts him up 3-2. Oh, they got 1 out. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm glad, because they were down 2-0, obviously, at the top of the 9th, and the game would have been over.
Budo gave back-to-back home runs, I believe.
Yeah. So shout out to the Mets. That's beautiful. Again, this is game 3, everything on the line. So, yeah. But anywho, sorry, Liam, I was distracted.
No, go ahead. I'm a Mets fan too.
Armand's physical reactions got me. I'm like, that's got to be Mets related, unless he had some weird money on the Falcons-Bucks game, which I guess is possible. All us gambling freaks out there.
I do, but I'm not watching that game. My friend's actually texting me who's a Bucks fan.
Yeah.
Or he's watching the Vince McMahon documentary and something juicy came up that he was waiting for.
I'm halfway through that, actually. So
I watched it. I watched it last Saturday. I binged the whole 6 episodes.
Oh wow, good for you! I think I have 2 or 3 episodes left, so I gotta finish that off. It's been very fascinating so far. Yeah. Anywho, Liam, I'll answer your question now. I keep delaying it and stalling left and right. Yeah, I do think this trade's going to happen. The Jets are the clear team here. Other teams that have been brought up as possibilities, I think you could poke holes. Like Saints, okay, the Derek Carr thing makes sense. They have $3 million in cap space. That makes no sense. So Saints eliminated. Buffalo Bills, they've got no money. How in God's green earth are they going to fit it? That's why they traded Stephon Diggs in the first place, was because they wanted to eventually get the money off the books. They're actually paying him more money to be not on the team than they would have paid him if he was on the team. Bills,
that's right. They took the big cap hit this year.
100%. So Bills, wipe them off the list. So then we're Cowboys. Wipe them off the list. They've got no money. They're broke, begging for change on the streets as a hobo. So, like, you start really eliminating teams pretty gosh darn fast. So, again, Jets seem like the obvious answer. They have the cap space. Devontae Adams wants to play for them. The Jets want him. It's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers thing in a lot of ways, where Aaron Rodgers said, I want to play for the Jets. And everyone in the NFL said, well, he wants to play for the Jets. We're not even going to really try here. And then the two teams had to try to figure out a trade. I think the trade happens next week. The Jets are in London. Obviously, they just traveled / are in mid-travel as we speak, going over to the London game, although the time zone throws me off. So they've either landed or they're mid-trip still. I haven't been paying attention to the hours of it. So, but anywho, long story short, Devontae Adams was not going to play in this London game anyway, too short of a turnaround. So to me, I think it happens next week. I think they hammer out the details. I think it's going to be like a mid-round pick. Maybe it's a 3rd and a 5th, like Braylon Edwards way back in the day for people that remember that trade. Maybe it's a 3 and a 5. Maybe it's just a 3. Maybe it's a 4. Maybe it's a 5. It's going to be somewhere in there. I don't think it's a 2nd unless the Jets are bidding against themselves. I don't see what other team is going to pay that premium. Maybe. Yeah, right. Maybe in that case, right? They eat a ton of. That's a fair point, Armand. That the Raiders eat a ton of the money. Jets go, I'll take that for a 2nd round pick. Thank you very much. So maybe there's a path for that. So I guess I can't completely rule it out, but I think it happens next week. I think Devontae Adams' debut will be in the Jets-Bills Monday Night Football game, Week 6. So I see it happening. Yeah. I think it's next week for a variety of logistics. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. So we're going to get Devontae in the old uniform before we even get him in the new one. That'll be his first debut in the Jets game, which is awesome. So, yeah, 100%. I think he'd be great.
What receiver do you see being off the roster for the Devontae situation? Like, do you see them maybe sending – I'll just use this guy as an example – maybe they send Xavier Gibson back to the Raiders in the deal.
It's a great question, Armand, because actually I read it in the Connor Hughes piece, and I'm going to write a piece probably late tonight, probably for tomorrow morning on the site about this. But so you guys will get the exclusive here. I haven't told or talked to anyone about this, but I think there's a chance it's one of 2 receivers. So it's Gibson, to your point. He could totally make sense. That's an expendable guy. It's a great story and everything else, so he could be gone. The sexier name it could be is Malachi Corley. He might be the guy that gets flipped over to Las Vegas land. The Jets are all stacked up. They don't see a clear path for him. The Raiders are kind of intrigued by him. And then the Jets just go, well, if that's going to get the deal done, then so be it. Let's make it happen and bang it out. So to me, I wouldn't want to do that because, the Jets staff.
It feels like a wasted pick.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, the Jets staff were high on him, and we haven't really seen him yet. So what could have changed? The money is inconsequential. He's playing for dirt cheap as the first pick in the 3rd round. So I wouldn't want that. If that really alleviated the draft pick in a lot of way, it's hard to complain about, oh man, we traded Malachi Corley for Devontae Adams. Okay, I probably won't be screaming from the rooftops about that one, but no, to the point, those are 2 guys to keep an eye out for that could be expendable guys in the back end. Yeah.
Well, I came up with a creative trade. I told Liam about it before you came on.
Okay, Armand, give it to me.
I know there's rumors I know Clowney's been rumored to be on the block because of Carolina's situation. Yeah. So I looked this up the last time. I know this very rarely happens. 3-team NFL trade. The last deal that happened, 3-team deal, was Eric Dickerson from the Rams to the Colts. The Bills were involved. The Bills got
a while ago. Yeah.
So the team I'm looking at to be the 3rd team involved is the Dallas Cowboys because Micah Parsons is hurt and DeMarcus Lawrence is out for 4 weeks. He's been put on IR.
Yeah.
Dallas gets Hassan Reddick.
Okay.
We send out Reddick. The Jets get Devontae. And then Vegas would get a draft pick from us and a draft pick from Dallas, basically. They get 2 picks. Whether they're 2/3, a 1/3 from us and a 1/3 from Dallas. I'm just looking at situations like where maybe they get rid of Reddick and because the Jets say, you know what? We get rid of Reddick. We bring in Devontae, and let's talk to Carolina about Clowney. Maybe there's another team that has a pass rusher. Maybe it's not a sizzle name pass rusher, but it's just another body here that's going to be able to play.
Yeah, I would say normally the way you were starting that, I'm like, oh, Armand, don't go down this road. Like, I love Jadeveon Clowney, and he would be a good piece on his own right. But, like, I thought you were going to have them in place of Dallas, where you're like, oh, Carolina takes us on Reddick. I'm like, why in God's green earth would they take us on
No. I'm just –
But
I only brought them up
you make-
because the
Yeah. You make all the sense in the world. The Cowboys, they think they're in the middle of everything. They think they're hot and heavy. So, of course, they would potentially be interested in Hassan because you line him and Micah up when he finally gets healthy. That makes a lot of sense. They see themselves as a contender. They're all in. So, yeah, that one makes sense for Hassan to potentially go there. The Jets get Adams. That's obvious. And then the Raiders are destined for a rebuild. So why wouldn't they want more picks? So I've heard a lot of crazy 3-team trades, Armand. That may be the greatest 3-team trade proposal I've ever heard on this Blue Earth.
Now, here's the crazy situation. I know Reddick's compensation pick we sent to the Eagles, the third, had to do with snaps with us. If he had those snaps with and sacks, okay.
Yeah. So here's to lay it out on the line. It's a 2026, not 2025. Not that you said it, just to clarify for everybody else. So it's not next year's draft. It's a year after. It's 2026. It's a conditional third. It becomes a second if Hassan Reddick were to meet both of these elements that I'm about to say. At least 10 sacks, if not more, and appears in 67.5% of the snap percentage in terms of playing time on defense. But I think I know your question before you even ask it, and it's, Paul, if Hassan Reddick was traded to Mars and he accomplished both of those things on Mars, would that pick elevate? And I believe no, that pick would not elevate. Okay. It would be dead immediately. So as soon as he's traded, he no longer could meet those qualifications for the Jets. I don't believe the Jets would be responsible for that on another team. That doesn't seem to make any sense. So I believe it would just be null and void. And basically you could say up, a third rounder's going to Philly now. Now it's guaranteed. I think that's where we'd be at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good question, though.
I like it.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. So Afram,
it kind of makes sense. Like if Dallas didn't lose Lawrence and Parsons, because they're both out this Sunday against Pittsburgh. Correct. I think Pittsburgh's going to run all over them with Warren and Najee.
Very possible.
Their run defense has just been as brutal as ours. The Cowboys. And not to have those two edge rushers for that game, I think the not just Najee, but Fields is going to run all over them too, scrambling out of the pocket.
I like this. It's just, could we include Salah in a trade? I like that. But Paul, thank you so much for your time. I know I told you 15 to 30 minutes, and here we are 53 minutes later.
Hey, man, it's a historic super chat show left and right. How else could we possibly have reacted?
Yeah, so thank you for playing some overtime with us. It's been a blast. Sure. So, Paul, everybody knows you, but for whatever reason, if you're new to Jets or whatever the situation is, if you just somehow haven't interacted or come across Boy Green's content, where can people find you?
Yeah, I try to keep it simple. It is at BoyGreen25. That is BOY, Green the color, GREEN 25. There's my jersey number playing high school football. That is everywhere. So it's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's youtube.com/@BoyGreen25. That's my YouTube channel. I'm live every single day for Boy Green Daily. It's a 7:30 in the morning show. It's about an hour long now, where half of it is me yelling or having a guest on, and another half of opening up the phone lines to people. And we try to have guests. We try to have Jets conversations. It's a great Jets community. So thank you so much for all the plugs. That's great. Great. We could exchange our royalty checks for that, for my overtime and your shameless promotions of me on this show. Absolutely. But it's terrific. I love it. I love doing the show. It's awesome. The community's been really cool. So it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Paul. All right, everybody. Boy Green, I will be checking it out tomorrow. Yeah, definitely go subscribe to his channel if you haven't done so already. He is very close to 7,000 subscribers. So get him over that hump. Get him to 7,000 subscribers. And if you're not a member, please join the Boy Green Coffee Club because
Quick,
it is.
quick glass comment, actually. So without even thinking about it, I just did the guns. Did I just get a
Oh, no,
15-yard penalty
no.
for that?
No,
Yeah.
that's green flags over here, Paul. There's no
Oh,
yellow
good.
flag penalties. We're not
Because I didn't
stupid
even
like
think
the
about
rest.
that. That was by default. I just did that, and I went, "Holy shit! Did I just get a penalty?" I mean, we're just at the end zone. We were about to score, and I just
By
did
the
that.
way,
Did I back us
Lazard
up out of
wasn't the
field
only
goal
one that got
range?
flagged for that type of situation.
Yeah, go figure.
The
Anywho.
Jacksonville, I think it was Brian Thomas, also got flagged Sunday
Yeah.
as well for a similar type of thing.
Drake London
Which
got a little more aggressive with his a couple weeks ago. He had like a shotgun Uzi to the crowd. I was like, whoa, okay, that seems a little aggressive. But, for me, the little pew pew, I don't even know. But anywho, God bless everybody. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. There it is, everybody. Boy Green. Right now we're going to bring on two wonderful guests. So I did open up the phone lines if anybody wants to come on. We got Afram and we got Tim from Fishland. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the Jets Afterburners. How you guys doing?
What's up, guys?
Good. How you guys doing?
Hi, Tim. Hi, Afram.
Hello, Tim. Hello, Afram.
So, I want to let you guys know when you guys watch that game on Sunday, if we don't have Rodgers, we don't have a chance in that game. Okay? The whole team didn't show up. All right? Offensively, offensive line, the wide receivers got their head up their ass. All right? The Jets run a very simplistic offense. It's the same thing that Peyton Manning ran, same thing Tom Brady ran, almost the same thing that Drew Brees ran. Okay, line them up. My guy's going to beat your guy. Okay, and the issue is when you got your head up your ass and you're not in accord and not in the spot that the quarterback throws the ball and the offensive line's not blocking, guess what? Listen, when it all comes down to it, I don't want to see my 40-year-old quarterback getting hit 15 times.
No, I don't blame you.
All right, that shit pissed me off so bad because they could have hurt him. They really could have hurt him.
Well, they did. I mean, not severely to the point where, but
no,
yeah,
I was
he
really
was
disappointed. I was really disappointed in the offensive line for that, but I'm tired of this shit where they can't run block.
Yeah.
Okay, they should be able to run block. All right, run blocking is a lot easier than trying to block somebody in pass protection at 300 plus pounds. Okay, so that's a huge flag to me that drives me nuts right now. Like, where's the run game at? All right, use Braylon Allen more. I don't know what Brees is doing trying to dance back there. I really don't. But I will tell you this, guys, it's going to get better. All right, this was an outlier, I hope. It's all about coaches and discipline. I think they got 10 days off, and they decided to lay an egg. I hope I'm right here. But the Jets need to look at the game tape from the Houston Vikings game, especially on the Houston defensive side, because Houston runs the same defense that we do. And we need to not do what Houston did against the Vikings, because the Vikings put up like 28 points on their ass or something, 31 points. Okay. Our defense for the last 2 years the strength has been the D-line. Hasn't been against the run, and I'll tell you why. Because we're undersized, and the 2-3 techs aren't doing their job. Now, Quinnen is, obviously, because he's eating up 2 or 3 guys. But the second guy, so the whole job on run fits in a 4-3 like we run, or the wide 9, is those D tackles are supposed to eat up 2 offensive linemen or a tight, you know what I mean? 2 blockers each. That way, the other linebacker gets a blocker, so that's 5 offensive linemen, and then you got 2 linebackers running free to make the tackle. Okay, when that doesn't happen and guys want to, just like the San Francisco, play hero ball and not be in their run fits, that's what you get on week 1. All right, and this has been a problem with Salah's defense since he's been here, is our run defense. What the Jets need to do on Sunday is they got to come out like they did against the Patriots, especially on offense. The only way we have a chance, go Matt. The only way we have a chance on Sunday is if they come out up tempo get up on them early and allow the defense to pin their ears back and start going after Sam. All right, but they got to lean on those corners. All right, we have the best. What was it? I think I saw the stat today. I guess the Jets are second in pass defense. Okay, lean on your freaking corners. Go look up at some Rex tape.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's what needs to be done because our defensive line ain't it. I'm sorry.
What? No, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Our defensive line is not it. They need to come out pissed off. They really do. I mean, the defense wasn't necessarily the biggest problem on Sunday, but they didn't help, but like holding a team to 10 points, you should win the game every single time. So with that being said, Afram, you have any thoughts on that or?
Well, my problem is that there's a trend, right? Always long 10 days off, and every time for the past 4 years they come out basically undisciplined, penalties. They look bewildered on the field. They just, Salah, I don't know, it gives them too much time off, but the trend is there. Now that they blitz the hell out of Rodgers, they expect that Minnesota to do the same thing and to see how this offensive line handles that. Doesn't blitz on a rookie quarterback.
The blueprint now.
It doesn't blitz the crap out of a rookie quarterback, force him to make mistakes. You got a 240-pound running back, 1 yard line, and he sits on the sidelines.
Yep.
These are the things that, these are the trends, making these stupid decisions to appease the player versus to win the game.
Yeah, Salah doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah, that's the problem. How he handles this game, I don't know. I mean, I would be selective blitzing because.
Well, you got to blitz in order to.
You got to blitz sometimes, but you got to be careful also because.
Well, I understand that, but if they like to show the blitz a lot at the line, but then they drop off. You got to blitz for them to think that's coming.
Yeah,
or to confuse them in some sort of way.
They need to do like Rex. Rex blitzed and relied on his corners to handle the receivers.
Yeah.
And especially now that like CJ's out, I think we could all agree that he has maybe lost his step. He's getting a little bit older. He's getting a little bit slower. While he's out, and you have Sherwood in. Yeah. Right now. Yeah. Yep. In a good way. But now that you have somebody that's younger and quicker, you have Sherwood and you have Quincy Williams. Now's the time to be blitzing. I mean, like, not saying that CJ can't do it. He's still a phenomenal athlete, but just maybe he's not the fastest guy on the team right now. So you want to get your fast guys definitely blitzing, and now might be the perfect time to do so while he's out with the injury.
Well, with Fatu back, let's see if they can plug the holes and stop this run, because they seem to give up yardage in every game.
Oh, that's on run fits. That's on the deep tackles taking up on double teams.
Him and Taylor should be active. They should be our two defensive tackles. Well, Fotu and Kindle are starting, and then.
And that's the thing. He just puts the same guys there. It's like a loyalty thing instead of putting guys, changing it up. You got to change it up. If it's not happening, if it's not working, change it up. And he just doesn't do it. And this is what bothers me with him. This is 4 years.
I have no faith he's going to do it on Sunday. I mean, if you want to be honest, like we all see it, we all agree, we all know, kind of know what's better at this point. But at the same time, like no offense to anyone, we're kind of just wasting our time talking about this in a sense because he's not going to do it.
Listen, I gave him the benefit of the doubt because he really didn't have a quarterback, right? And the defense was playing well, but. Even now, you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you're still making the same mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand something about football. One thing is that if you can't get pressure within 5 seconds on a 4-man rush, it's not going to work well. Because
it's not. Never does.
I don't give a fuck if you got the best corners in football, both sides, all three. Okay, they can only cover for so long.
Yeah.
All right, they can only cover for so long before that receiver finds an opening or runs past them or gets leverage on them or this and that. You know, like, and the D line the last 2 years has been our strength. All right, the biggest mistake they made was trading away JFM. All
Yeah.
right, he was a huge, big time run defender for us. All right, and you know, I just watch it and I'm like, just blitz, blitz, blitz. You know what I mean? Like, because we got these corners, man. Use them. All right, stop playing this stupid zone shit. Man them up. If they want to call themselves the best secondary in football, let's see it.
Yeah.
All right. Sauce needs to be traveling all day on Jefferson's ass.
Yep.
He wants to get paid like a number one corner. Well, go what? You go ahead and be a number one corner. All right. That's the one issue I got with Sauce is he's afraid to come up and make a tackle. Revis had no problem doing that.
See,
right?
my
Revis was
biggest
so much more physical than Sauce.
that, and then like also like the biggest difference is the interceptions. I mean, like, so, like we don't really like even like sometimes notice that Sauce is out there because like he's covering his guy. Like fine, like just go cover somebody, take them out of the game. But like he's just not somebody that's gonna get those interceptions for whatever reason.
Well, like that
he has
that
chances
pass
too.
with Ridley. But that pass with Ridley against the Titans.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You see him looking for the ball. Turn your fucking head.
Yep. Yeah, he wasn't even turned around. No, I know.
All right. Play the ball. All right. That was the one thing that made Revis so elite is that he would play the receiver, but as soon as he knew the ball was up, he was up tracking that ball. All right. Because you got just as much right to that ball as that wide receiver is as long as you're looking at it. When you're not looking at it, that's when flags come out.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right here.
So
I'm just worried that Salah's. It's he likes to stick to his system, and regardless, very stubborn to that effect. I mean, the adjustments sometimes come too late. It's just that the trust isn't there anymore.
well, no, the biggest problem with Salah's
decision.
defense is the run. It has been since he's been here.
Yeah.
Last year, we didn't have an offense, and this is why I say the Jets got to get up on people to prevent people from trying to run the ball downhill on us.
Well, they had Al Woods last season. He did a good job. They had some guys there, and they let them both go. Who was the other guy?
Al got hurt. He had the Achilles injury. That's why he's still on the free agent market.
Yeah,
he's
also a lot older.
He's 36 years old. He's my age.
He's 36.
See, and like you make a good point with Salah.
My issue with Salah is our defense doesn't create turnovers.
That's another thing that drives me nuts. And you have to blitz to do that. You have to throw different coverages out, blitz. You can't just sit there and play. Oh, I'm gonna, my guy's gonna shut you down because that's not gonna happen.
Like you just can't rely on 3 and outs. Sometimes you have to strip sack or punch the ball out of the tight end receiver or running back's hands, and get the ball to the offense. Better field position. Can't rely on special teams to make a great return all the time.
Sure,
especially when our guys fair catch like 99% of the time. They're all Braxton Berrios back there.
Paul plays me many times on Madden. When it's 3rd or 4th down, I'm coming with the heat because I'm not going to give you time to throw it. You see what I mean? Like that's my thing. I'm not going to give you time. Like I want that ball back at that point.
He needs to mix it up and fool them. He's got to fool the offense. He's got to not make it like they know what's going to what's coming to them. I remember Rex used to just have the guys just walking on the line, and they didn't know what to do, and
they didn't know who was coming.
Exactly, and they didn't know who was lining up until the last second.
But eventually, Rex's defense got stale because people had tape on all of his different type of exotic blitzes.
Not only that, they were relying on him and Itzik later on to do the draft, and Rex couldn't pick and he just liked guys who can
Well,
hit.
the biggest issue with Rex's defense back in the day is they didn't have that bona fide pass rusher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, they never had that one guy that you could line up 4-man rush and he'd get there within 5 seconds.
Because they were
That's the whole
trading.
thing.
Wilkerson
trading
was
the
at the
draft
tail
picks
end
to get
with
players.
him, wasn't he?
You know,
Wilkerson was with Rex at the end, wasn't he? Or was that strictly
I
Todd
think
Bowles?
Rex drafted him, but
I
his
think
best
so.
year, I think, was with Bowles.
Yeah, and then he got paid and fell off a cliff.
yeah. I mean, and we had drafts where we had like 3 players because they were trading picks to get veterans.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on with Saleh, I don't know if you guys remember over the summer, like, right before the season started, he was on Boomer and Geo, and I don't really take what he says in his press conferences too seriously, because he even said on Sunday he said Aaron Rodgers is not going to be on the injury report. Sure enough, he is. Just like Mekhi Becton was only going to miss a couple of games, he was out 2 years. So it's like whatever he says, I don't take too strictly or really to heart. But he said he's really just got to go back to what got him here. I got to go back to the X's and O's. And he said, especially last year, anytime I spoke to try to make things better, it got worse. And it almost feels like that's what's happening now.
Well, sometimes less is more. That's the problem. He gives too much information. And,
when he doesn't have
the
to.
New York media market, it's going to take every little nugget and turn it against you that you said. So the best thing that you could be as a Jet or Giant head coach, you can Philly, is be like Belichick. On to the next game, on to Cincinnati. I hate Belichick, but he was right to do all that. Fuck the media.
Yeah.
All right?
They're not playing it. You've got to worry about your team to play. Don't worry about the media.
The thing is, like, the Jets definitely, like, as much as like they pretend, it's all outside noise. Like they don't hear what we're hearing. They hear it. They're all over social media too. The Jets have been getting blasted on Twitter all week. They've been getting blasted by WFAN. Every podcast out there's been like they hear it. They know what the hell's going on. The biggest thing you could hope for
and
is
it's not just the players, it's the front office, it's all the employees, it's the PR people. They're all watching, they're all reading.
They make a difference. They should be watching film and seeing what we saw.
I'm not talking.
Who's talking about what now?
One thing I wanted to see on Sunday when Rodgers was getting his ass whooped was him chewing out the offensive line like Tom Brady would. I hate Tom Brady, but I respect him, and that's exactly what I'd be doing on that fucking sideline. I would have been throwing shit. I would have been pissed. All right, because how am I supposed to do my job when I drop back, and then within 3 seconds I got somebody up my ass?
And not that, like, you're getting me hurt. He's 40 years old. It doesn't feel good.
I really believe he was more pissed at Hackett than anything else with some of his play calls.
He hasn't shown it. Well, yeah, I agree, but he hasn't shown any frustration towards Hackett. Like,
if he's pissed at Hackett, he should be okay with us firing his ass.
I don't understand. I don't know what he sees in Hackett. I really don't, because it's like
his 2 MVPs.
Yeah, but he didn't even call the plays. He did not call the plays.
It's and Peyton Manning. It's Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady. He runs his offense. It's not Nat Hackett's offense.
I think it's
3-by-1, the traditional old school 3-by-1, 2-by-1. Set them, line them up, spread them out. He's going to find the guy, the matchup, and that guy's got to be at the spot. And that's why Devontae is really important to get here, because they have such a rapport. I remember I watched highlights. I I rewatched highlights recently of Rodgers back in 2020 and 21 with Devontae. He was throwing the ball before Devontae even made his break. Yep. That's how in sync they were. Okay. And when you have a guy that can do that, it opens up the whole offense. And the way he runs his offense is, like I said in the super chat, they have to win. The guys on the outside have to win their one-on-ones.
Thank you for the super chat, by the way.
Garrett's not doing it. I don't know what's going on with Garrett. I think he's trying to do too much. Like I said, less is better.
I agree with that.
Just get in your goddamn spot, kid. He'll find you. You don't have to be Gumby and make everybody miss and jump all around. And it's the same thing with Brees Hall. When you're running the fucking football, you see the hole, you hit the hole, you don't dance.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Brees is trying to do too much. I think he's trying to hit that.
He's trying to be
big
Le'Veon Bell.
run. Le'Veon Bell, Saquon. He's trying to hit that big 80-yard run where
You don't need
it's
that.
okay to take 5 yards or even 8
That's
yards
what you
on the
want.
run.
5 yards, four yards carry. That's what I
Stop
want.
dancing left and right and run up the hole. It feels like Braylon is doing that, and
He
not
can
Brees.
have. He
Braylon
can
is-
have. I just want to answer this. Yes, he can have bad games, but we're seeing significantly less than what we've seen from him in the past, and like that's the concerning part.
I mean, he was
I think
arguing
he's-
with Rodgers.
Like Tim
When
says,
did we ever see
he's trying
Garrett
too
last
hard.
year? When did we see Garrett last year get into an argument with Zach or any of the other quarterbacks that played?
Yeah.
Look
Well,
at
Tim, Tim, the
week
question I
one
have for
against
you.
Buffalo last year. That touchdown was all Garrett. That one-handed touchdown catch week one against Buffalo last year. That wasn't a good ball thrown by Zach.
But remember
Now,
last
Tim-
year
You got Liam?
he was Zach's primary target.
Yeah.
Now he's not the primary target because he'll spread that ball around to whoever's open.
Now, Tim, you were just touching on the connection that we all know that Davante Adams and Rodgers have. Now, do you fear that maybe they're not going to be as in sync, just because like once this
I
once
think
they
it
come
might
back
take him a
together?
week or two.
Okay.
I think it might take him a week or two, but having Davante on the field is gonna generate eyes on defense. You see what I mean? Like you see the rapport that he has with Lazard. Lazard was Lego hands last year. All right. Without Rodgers, Lazard ain't shit. So, all right, this is what boggles me in, with the presser, with the cadence shit, with Salah. Salah, shut the fuck up. Please. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback who's won. You ain't won shit.
Nope.
Listen to the man. He's been there before. All right. He's got over 150 wins in the NFL. How many wins you got? 20 and 35? That's not good.
480 touchdown passes.
All right. You got to listen to the man. He knows what he's doing on offense. All right.
Just leave him alone.
And to be honest with you, I really think this is an outlier game. I just think the offensive line didn't show up, or Denver's defense just had a great plan. It's either or, but I was really impressed the first 3 weeks with the offensive line and their pass protection on it.
I was
All right,
too.
compared to the last couple of years, all of a sudden it looked like Zach Wilson was back there on Sunday.
They
And
were
that
blitzing.
cannot happen.
They were blitzing, and they didn't do anything to adjust to it. That's as simple as that.
Well, that's the thing, is you got to attack the blitz. So
Yeah.
you have to block it up. That's number one. But you also, when the blitz is coming, that's where you throw the ball, wherever it's coming.
And did you see
That's
that
the weak
happening?
side of the blitz.
Did you see that happening much?
No, I didn't,
No.
because
Well,
wide
who-
receivers weren't at where the hell they were. You
who
saw
made
that
the-
pass
who
that
didn't
he
make
threw
the
to
adjustments?
Lazard. But you saw that pass that he threw to Lazard where he was getting hit when he threw it.
Yeah.
And he hit Lazard right in stride.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
That's
There's
something
no-
that you would see with Devontae.
Yeah, there's no question his accuracy and all that. It was just they didn't make the adjustments, and he took the brunt of it. Unfortunately, I'm sure.
But now the
I'm
offensive
sure
line,
that's why he got mad at Hackett, because there was
Listen,
no
what-
adjustments made.
when it all comes down to it, Rodgers shouldn't be dropping back 40 times and throwing.
No.
He's 40 years old. I need a running game behind him.
Well, Brees needs to
Alright.
step it up too.
Or I don't give a fuck who it is. If it's Davis, whoever's got the hot legs, feed him the ball. Okay, there's an old
Oh, his
Common
army
saying,
sense.
conditioning back in high school, hot legs.
Common sense.
there's an old saying like, whoever's got a hot hand, you keep giving it to him. You don't take it away and give it to somebody else.
Yep.
You can't
All
worry
right.
about stats. The only stat you
No.
got to worry about is
It's a team
wins.
game. This isn't fantasy football.
Yeah.
All right.
With that being said, I guess Tim, I'll give you the question. Do you and when do you see this Davante Adams trade going through?
I'd say Monday.
Monday, okay.
Yeah, I think Monday.
I'll
But the
say
thing
so-
is, too, you got to
I'll say
understand,
Sunday
though,
night.
Yeah.
I heard Schefter say today he's still recovering from an actual hamstring. So why are you going to trade for him and pay $1 million a week for a guy that can't play?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Wait till he's healthy, then trade for him. Make the Raiders eat that shit.
Yep.
Well, we don't know. Let's see what happens. We don't know what.
Here's
what
a question:
terms
outside
the
of us
agreement.
getting him, give me a surprise team that you could see trading for him. I got one team in mind, but I want any one of you
The
guys to go
problem is
first.
he don't want to go anywhere but the Jets or the Saints.
That's
that
not
makes it
true, Afram.
difficult.
There's a report that he's open to go anywhere.
Yeah. 49ers.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
those reports keep changing every 5 seconds.
They don't know. That's what it'll.
But that's
the
why you
whole
can't
thing.
believe every report. Like, do you think?
Listen,
I think
he has a no
I really don't
trade
believe the
clause.
report that.
it's the deal is
I don't know what
announced
his
Sunday,
contract is.
and he comes in Monday for a physical, and so this way he has enough time to practice for the Buffalo
He
game.
doesn't have a no trade clause, but that's a bullshit thing. If he tells the team that's trying to trade for him he doesn't want to play for him, they ain't gonna trade for him.
Exactly.
You know,
He's not going to show up.
He's just gonna pull a Son Reddick.
Yeah, or a who's the other one that's just went to camp and just stayed on the bike because he said he was injured. San Francisco.
Oh,
Ayuk.
Ayuk.
The IU. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
Afram, when do you think this trade's going through? If you do,
I agree. Sunday night it'll be announced, and then Monday he comes in for a physical, and then it becomes official.
Tim, when
It's
do
gotta
you
be
what do
Monday
you
or
think it's
Tuesday
going to
'cause those are
take?
the off days.
What are the Jets going to have to give up to get him?
I wouldn't give up more than a third or a fifth, and I would stash Corley on the practice squad and then cut Brownlee. That's what I would do.
You know, teams are going to jump on Corley if you put him on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And that's gonna eat at fans. You wasted if they trade Corley or put him on the practice squad team. Like, why would you waste a high end pick and put him on the practice squad or trade him?
Trade Gibson, and then it's time for the rookie to come out and be a punt returner. That's the best
I
thing
agree.
I could say.
I
Do
think
you
Gibson
really
should be
think
the
they're
one
worried
guy.
about the fans, Armin?
No, they only worry about us when they want our money, Afram.
Yeah, they couldn't care less.
But you got to look at the two big wide receivers that were traded this offseason.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen went for a fourth, and Stephon Diggs went for a 2025 second round pick. So that's equal to what, third round pick this year?
Oh,
And Randy Moss went for a 4th rounder.
All right. So,
So,
I mean, the compensation's there. They could sit there and be like, oh, we got this and that. But all Devontae has to do is be like, no, I want to play with Aaron. And I think that's what he's doing right now, to be honest with you. Because if you think about it, he knows the Hackett offense. He knows Aaron Rodgers' offense. They have everything together. What other team where he can actually step in and play at a high level without having to think? And that's the biggest thing. Saleh says it, and he's right. You don't want these players out here thinking. You want them reacting. Okay? When a player thinks, that's when bad things happen.
and to your point, it works this other way. The Raiders would want to get rid of him quicker instead of paying him $1 million a week.
Yeah.
Right? So it works both ways. So I think they'll just take something decent.
Gibson,
He
a
can say
third
all he
and a
wants.
fifth.
I don't think it's going to take a player. Because they want the draft. Like, they're a rebuilding team. They want as much draft assets.
No,
as
you're
they
just
can.
adding him in there, and you're giving them a low salary guy in Gibson. It's not like it's a high paying contract.
No, I know. I'm just not sure if they're going to want him. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have to give him the 2026 third rounder, right?
Well, they have the Lions third round pick this year.
Or do they?
Two
Okay.
thirds.
Yeah, they got 2 third round picks this year. So
One
It
goes
could be the
to
Lions one or ours. And I'd
Yeah,
rather
ours
have the
goes-
Lions
doesn't
one
ours
because
go
the
to
Lions
the,
are going to be a playoff team.
doesn't ours go to Philly?
That's 26, the Eagles. The
nah,
Eagles
it's
trade is a
2026. Also, you
2026
got to
third.
understand something about that trade. We get a third round pick back for a comp pick for Bryce Huff that year.
Yep.
So it's really, we didn't pay anything for Hassan, really, if you think about it.
Yeah. No.
So then, just to get into the game on Sunday, what are you guys feeling, Tim?
They got to come out like they did with the Patriots, especially on offense. High tempo. Rodgers needs to throw it. They got the 30-second pass defense now. those numbers are probably inflated because the Vikings have been up on people, but flip the script on them. That's the thing. Flip the script. Why do you think their defense is so high and mighty and this and that? Because they got up multiple scores on people. All right. Once you get up multiple scores on people, they have to change their plan. They can't run the ball anymore. They have to pass more. So that is the Jets' recipe for success all year long. All right. You cannot be down in these 1 or 2 or like 10-point games. You got to get up on these guys fast. That way you can let the defense go to town. All right.
Good point.
That's when they can't run the ball anymore. They have to change up the game plan because you're up. Like that's the only way I can see the Jets having a good year is that they got to stop this flat bullshit. They got every game they got to come out like game busters and get up on people quick.
Do you see a win on Sunday?
Huh?
Do you see a win on Sunday for the Jets?
Yeah, I possibly do. Remember, football, especially in the NFL, this isn't college. All right, it's any given Sunday.
Yep.
Anything can happen. All right, and when you got a quarterback like Rodgers and his ability to throw and just about any spot on the field, okay, Sam, I wish we kept him, to be honest with you, because I saw flashes from him his rookie year. All right, but Jets are impatient. Woody Johnson's impatient. That's the biggest problem with the Jets. I think the Johnsons have need to sell the Jets for a while.
I think that was solid too.
And ironically, they didn't want to pay that 50-year option of $20 million, which now is a steal for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of these kids, the outlier is CJ Stroud, but I don't even think CJ Stroud's all that great, to be honest with you. The outlier is Jaden Daniels. We'll see how he plays the reason. You got to give these kids time. The NFL game is so much different than college. In college, they're taught like a number in like a color on the snap or the play. You know what I mean? Like the NFL level is so much different than college. I don't even care if it's SEC
and isn't
or
college
not.
more of a? Isn't college in the passing game a one read? Like you see the number one guy and he's open, you just throw it to him. Whereas in the NFL, you got to look at multiple reads and everything.
Yeah, you got to scan defense left to right to left, depending on what your progression is. You know what I mean? What you see pre-snap. That's the one thing that you love about Rodgers, and I think that's why you didn't see them go 5 wide on Sunday, is because the offensive line wasn't protecting him. All right, when he goes 5 wide, he can see the whole defense.
Yeah. And Rodgers said himself on McAfee, he said, it's best for these guys, these young kids, to sit and learn for a few years before throwing them into the fire.
Yeah, because then you ruin their confidence.
Yeah.
All right, you're looking at Caleb Williams. Look at Caleb Williams. He's running around like Zach Wilson 2.0 out there.
Yeah, kid shot already. Yeah. And then look at like somebody like a Jordan Love. It's like such a seamless transition into quarterback to quarterback to quarterback.
He stepped back and learned.
Yep. He said this 2 weeks ago. The game in the NFL is won in the pocket. You must be able to throw in the pocket. Now, you might have a couple throws where you have to break outside and do the off-schedule thing, but that's like 10% of the game. It's not 50%. Like you're running around like a freaking kid with a chicken with your head cut off back there. And then you back up. The more and more you back up, when you're drop backing, you're just allowing the DN just to tee off on your ass because you got to step up into that pocket. That's what's going to give the tackle leverage. All right. I used to see this all the time with Zach Wilson. He would keep back up, and he's just giving the sack to the DN. Step up, kid. All right, you got to allow your tackle to regain that leverage. You can't grab him.
So, Afram, what are you thinking for Sunday? You think the Jets could finally get a win here? Or?
Right now, my confidence level is very low.
Okay.
So, but anything could
They
happen.
broke my friend Afram. They broke you.
No, it's not that. It's just I just don't see the the trend with this coach is just. We'll see how they come back. Come out.
Well,
Like
yeah, that's
Tim
the
said,
thing.
they need
You'll
they need
know.
to always be in the lead. They can't be falling behind.
Yeah, you'll know. I mean, they can fall behind by a score, and Rodgers can get them back.
Yeah.
Listen, my faith is all on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
All right. We have never had a quarterback like this before. We need to listen to the man. I don't care if you got a political bias against him or anything like that. He's one of the few quarterback savants. Okay. And if you look at it with Peyton Manning when he went to Denver, especially recently with Tampa and Tom Brady, Tampa was 5-5 before they went on the run and won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
My only concern is
somebody. I
he's
think
one guy.
made his
Because
point.
they went 5-5 because they had a head coach willing to adjust his offense.
Well, no,
to
they
the
went to
quarterback
what
to
Tom
Brady's-
wanted to
what-
do. That's what happened. They started doing what New England used to do, which is the quick passes outside, all that type of stuff. They went what Tom wanted to do in that. All right.
That's what I mean. They had a head coach willing to adjust his offense
Yeah.
to what the quarterback wanted.
Well, also you have to understand too what else they did. So Orlovsky brought this up in on Get Up. Look at the Rams when they won the Super Bowl. They traded for Odell Beckham. Tampa Bay that year, if they having problems beating man coverage, what do? They go out and get an AB.
Yep.
Devontae's right at our doorstep. Let's go get him.
Yeah.
We
And
got a 1 or 2 year window. Let's get it done.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
So I think we're
we'll see.
just about,
We'll see 9:30 in the morning.
yeah, bright and early. Kegs and eggs, at least in my house.
You got to be able to beat man coverage in this type of offense. I'm sorry. So,
Let's hope that the Vikings have jet lag.
Yeah, hopefully the Jets could take advantage of this. So I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. We're going on an hour and a half here. So Tim, I just wanted to thank you so much, especially for the super chats. First time in this channel's history. So you will always have the first super chat in Jet Afterburner history. So special place, man, special place. So definitely, call in every week. We're going to be throwing the link in. So
money well spent. All right.
Appreciate
you guys
it,
have
man.
a good night. JETS, Jets. Let's get a dub on Sunday.
You too, brother. All right. Afram, thank you so much, brother.
Anytime. Be well.
All right. All right. Armand, my backup co-host, you look very excited over there.
The Mets won 4-2. We're taking on the Phillies in the divisional round. Bring on Redtober this Saturday, 4 p.m. on Fox. Game 1, Mets Phillies. Bring on Redtober. They did it for Grimace. They did it for Candelita, Jose Iglesias, and his OMG song. By the way, not yesterday, after game 1, he announced that October 11th, the remix is going to drop, and it's with Pitbull.
All right, there it is. So congratulations to the New York
and in
Mets.
other baseball news,
what's up?
The Cincinnati Reds have hired Terry Francona as their manager.
Nice. Good for them. So with that being said,
let's get this win on Sunday. Hey, Jets, you could learn from the Mets. You can be inspired by the Mets. Unify together. Find the most stupidest thing. It took Grimace on June 12th to throw out a first pitch and to start a 7-game winning streak for this team. It took a song for every time they hit a home run and a guy to get called up from the minor leagues to unify this team. Jets, I don't care if it's the stupidest thing in the world. Find something to get unified around and become one. And let's get wins.
do you see them win on Sunday?
Yes, I say Jets win by 3.
All right. Nobody cares about you. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I pissed off Vinny, apparently. Woody constantly hired bottom feeders for coaches. They are always ranked bottom 5 league-wide in terms of pay. Until we get a real head coach, we continue to hire these guidance counselors.
Okay. Vinny's
And
not
then
wrong. We do need a head coach,
I don't
but
care about that.
go Royals. Bobby Wood's gonna friggin' steal on your asses.
Yeah, I mean, as for now, we're stuck with
Liam,
Salah. So until proven until otherwise, I have to root for him. I'm not a big fan of him
the
right
sad
now.
thing is, I'll say this because I told my other friends this. I said this on another podcast a few days ago in the chat. Not. I didn't call in. It was in the chat.
Hey, all right.
Salah is warranted for being fired, but the biggest fear comes from Woody because he's gonna want to pander and appease Aaron, and that the head coach being promoted would be Hackett and not Olbrich.
Yes. Possibly Ron Middleton too. I've heard a lot of Ron Middleton, but we don't even need to have this conversation because they're not going to fire Salah mid-season. They're just not going to. If Adam Gase can survive,
it's going to have to take a big downfall.
14,
it's going to have to take a nasty downfall or a nasty fight between him and Rodgers on the sideline, and for that to be the narrative or to be the thing talked about constantly, social media, media-wise, for Woody to finally step in and say, Salah, you're out. But I know Hackett's going to be the head coach. I've warned everybody. I've said it here. You know that. I've told everybody this. I said it on the Jets Turbulence that, you fire Salah, it's going to be Hackett as the head coach. I don't want that. I want Olbrich or Ron Middleton, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think changing the coach would even do a whole lot. I mean, like, you might get like a little spark for a little while, like we've seen it in years past, but at the end of the day, it's like, this is the roster that we're working with. It's Rodgers' offense right now, so I hope for the best, man. Like, I want to cheer on Robert Salah. I want.
If you gave it to Olbrich, I think if you gave it to Olbrich, we have the spark that the Raiders had last year when they made Pierce the interim head coach.
All right. With that being
said,
I
just think it has to happen.
No, go ahead.
I just think that would have to happen sooner before you're eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's my fear. It's like, if it's going to happen, it's not going to happen soon enough. But until proven otherwise, he is our head coach.
Mara is backwards. He's as bad as Woody.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think I think Salah would not be done.
Well, either way, I have to root for Salah because, like, I want to win. Like, I want to watch the Jets win.
We all do.
And I feel like you're just obligated to say he's a nice guy. Anytime you talk about Robert Salah, he's a nice guy. I don't care how nice he is. Just go out there on Sunday and win us games. Outcoach Andy Reid, outcoach McVay, Sean McDermott, Zach Taylor. The list goes on and on. Or at least be competitive with them, But it's the way that we lose that really just pisses us all off. And then he takes no accountability, Not only does he not hold any players accountable, he doesn't take any accountability himself. So the one thing you're going to do is you're going to call out the Hall of Fame, the first ballot Hall of Fame, Aaron Rodgers, and his cadence, the same cadence that won him a Super Bowl, the same cadence that made him a 4-time MVP, the same cadence that made him one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That's the problem. Give me a break.
The cadence that made Salah and Woody and Joe Douglas get on an airplane and fly to him.
Yeah. Yep. So with that being said, I am hoping for a win. I think the Jets are going to win. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I'm really thinking like a 17-10. Jets, obviously.
I'll say 20. I'll say 23-20, 2017. Like I said, a 3-score team. I hope the Jets win, but I'll say the team wins by 3.
With that being said, Armand, thank you so much for coming back home where you belong. It's nice having you back, man. See what happens. You come back, the Mets get a nice win. They advance. So our backup co-host is back, baby. Go Jets. Let's find a way to. I mean, we did it last year. Right. We beat the Eagles when they were undefeated. We beat them for the first time in franchise history. So maybe that luck can roll over now where we could finally be another undefeated team.
Yeah, get this team play like back. They played against Kansas City and get the win.
Yeah. Or could we just play like we played against New England this year and just, maybe just stomp a mud hole in them? There's really not going to be any home field advantage for any team, which could root in the Jets' favor. I don't know. I mean, last year they were a better road team than they were
like I said,
at home.
Early Boy Green, getting away from here, even though via social media and whatever press is there for the NFL, they're still going to see and read stuff.
Yep.
That you're just so far away from it. You're not as close as you are.
find a way to get it done, Jets. I
Get
am
away from the
rooting
noise.
like hell, man. So thank everybody for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for all the comments. Really appreciate it. Big shout out once again to Boy Green. You know, I want to thank him so much for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. We will talk Jets soon.
Quarterback, Ken O'Brien of California Davis.
Just 14 that first time, now going long. They got a wide open man, and he makes the catch. It's Braylon Edwards taking off. Braylon Edwards will take it home for the touchdown. 80.
First down in San Diego territory at the 47-yard line. Big draw. And Pennington going for 6. Deep down the field, and it's caught by Santana Moss.